Big data and data warehousing, volume, variety, and velocity. So, big data and data warehousing are critical components in modern data management and analysis. Big data refers to vast, complex data sets that are too large for traditional data processing systems to handle. As we know in today's day and age, our systems are quite rich with data. They can gather data using IoT devices quite easily and obviously centralize them within a system. The problem is we've got so much data, so we need to build these larger enterprise systems that are capable of holding the data, managing the data, and thus analyzing the data so that it is useful to the actual enterprise itself. And that's what we refer to as big data, these larger data sets. These data sets are collected from a wide range of sources, including social media, sensors, and transactions, providing valuable insights when properly analyzed. That's where the value is, analyzing these larger data sets, but obviously we need larger, more powerful systems in order to do so. The other concept we're talking about here as well is data warehousing. So, data warehousing is a system used to store, manage, and organize large volumes of historical data from multiple sources, which is archived in a centralized location. So, we're bringing in data not just from one source, but many sources, okay, gathering it up over years, over decades, and creating this data warehouse to store all this data as said, because data is valuable. And we're saying the term archive because this data is no longer being updated with new information. It's just historical data from a database from somewhere, and then we bring it into the data warehouse for storage and then later on analysis. So it allows for efficient retrieval and analysis through processes such as data mining. Together, big data and data warehousing enable organizations to make data driven decisions using larger scales and data sets. So think about it as the big data is the data stored within the enterprise system, the largest system. Okay, and we obviously need to be able to manage the big data within that system using more advanced and higher level technology. And then we've got the data warehouse for storing historical data. So when the enterprise is finished with their yearly data and they've gotten to the end of that financial year, they may store that data from the previous financial year in their data warehouse, where they might have the last 5 to 10 years of data stored from previous business being made by the enterprise, which they can analyze through things such as data mining in order to hopefully find trends and patterns to help them predict the future. But we'll speak more about data mining in another video. So we're just focusing on the actual storage mechanisms right now of big data and data warehousing. So we want to now talk about the components related to these two areas. And we're going to talk about, obviously, first, volume. Volume refers to the sheer amount of data generated and stored. So that is a feature of both these, big data and data warehousing, that there is a lot of data being stored. And we've obviously got to build systems with both hardware and software that can handle that large data. So managing and storing enormous data sets requires a scalable infrastructure and efficient storage solutions. Processing large volumes is resource intensive, meaning that the integrity of the system can be impacted if it's not up to scale with the amount of data within a system. Companies like Facebook or Google process petabytes of data daily. So that's beyond terabytes. Okay, that's 1,024 terabytes makes a single petabyte. Okay, requiring vast storage systems and real-time analysis tools. All right, so you've got to build the system that can handle the large volume of data, the amount of data that is being stored on the system. Secondly, we have a variety, which refers to the different types and formats of data collected. So structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data. We've mentioned this before in this course, that we have that category when we've got the structured data set, which is nice little tables that has its headings and it's quite clear to see data and records going into all their different rows. It's very clean and often easier to analyze. But then we also have platforms like social media gathering data in a variety of formats using a variety of media tools, which is still very meaningful data, but leans more to the unstructured way where we need a bit of processing or AI or machine learning support to help analyze that data. So, handling diverse data sources such as combinations of text, image, and video based data requires specialized tools for integration and analysis. Retail businesses collect data from sales transactions, customer feedback, and inventory systems, all in different formats. But we want to bring all that data together to help with our business planning. So, we need the appropriate tools to support the variety of types of data that are coming into the system and finding meaning within those data. The last one then is that of velocity. So as you can see, there are the three V's: volume, variety, and velocity. And velocity refers to the speed at which data is generated and needs to be processed. All right, as said, because we've got such large data sets, the integrity of systems is impacted unless we have the technology to support it. And we do want timely turnarounds in the actual gathering of data and processing of data within the system. Once lag starts coming into play, it's going to impact not just the participants doing their jobs in the system, but if we're interacting with users and clients and they're getting poor integrity out of the system, well, they might not use the system or want to support the system because of the slow turnaround. So the system needs to be speedy in its data generation and processing. So rapid data streams require real-time processing technologies to derive actionable insights before the data becomes outdated. All right, and we've got to think, if it's a large enterprise, especially, one of the big technology industries or an online platform, something in the larger IT industry like Google and Facebook and the large social media platforms, data is just coming in constantly and you want to be responsive to that data. Okay, and often it's a highly competitive industry you could be as well, which is the case with enterprises. So you want to be ahead of the game or at least keep up with the game. So you need the quick turnaround of data, its processing, and then able to give valuable informatics and insights, all right, to your audience, to your users. Financial markets require real-time processing of data to make split-second trading decisions. All right, so if you are looking at the stock market, or where you're investing, okay, you've got to respond to data live because everything can change, and the speed at which you respond, okay, based on markets changing, could cost companies thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars if they're too slow in their response because their systems took too long. So velocity is very important in ensuring that data is collected and processed in extremely timely formats, okay, so that responses can be made by enterprises, in critical decision making time in a quick pace. So I hope this video has given you understanding of big data and data warehousing and these three areas related to it of volume, variety, and velocity. Big data referring to the fact that we've got these large systems that store vast amounts of data. They collect them, they store the data, they organize the data, okay, in these larger systems, but they require much more advanced technology to manage these larger data formats, okay, and the amount of data within the system, the volume of the data. And then data warehousing, the archiving of older data, historical data, into these data warehouses where we can accumulate historical data from a variety of locations, which then can be data mined to look for trends and patterns that can support enterprises in their decision making and future planning for the success of the enterprises. Data will come in a variety of formats, and we've got to process it to make it manageable and understandable to find these insights. And we also got to factor in velocity too, the speed at which data is actually coming into the system and being processed and producing valuable output, because decision making is vital in enterprises, especially in timely formats, to ensure they can stay ahead of the game and compete in a very competitive enterprise market.